everyone. So today I wanted to talk to you about some basics of tracking your macronutrients and your calories. This video will lead up to next week on why it's important to do so because it will create what you call food freedom. So I'm just going to be very basic today. I'll try not to make this long or anything. So basically when you are looking at a macro is your proteins, your carbs, your fats. But then I also include alcohol in there too because you also have to count alcohol within your daily intake for your diet. So when you're looking at each macro, for protein and carbs, for every 1 gram of protein or carb, you have 4 calories. For fats, for every 1 gram of fat, there are 9 calories. Hence being it is the most nutrient or the most dense one of them all. That's why usually we have lower fat intake versus the carbs and the proteins is because it accounts for almost more than double of carbs and proteins. And then lastly, with alcohol, 1 gram of alcohol is about 7 calories. So just a quick little tip on alcohol. Say when you are drinking a White Claw or something like that, that's the easiest thing because I drank those. It says that you have 100 calories in that little can, right? But when you look on the back of the label, it says that there's only 2 grams of carbs. Well, if you take your 2 grams of carbs times 4 calories, that's 8 calories. So where's the rest of the 92 calories coming from? That's where alcohol comes into play, okay? So don't let alcohol fool you because there are more than just 2 grams of carbs in your little bottle or your can. So just be mindful of that. Just next time you're wondering, maybe you went out and you had a couple of drinks, but you ate well, but yet maybe the next day you are a little bit heavier or something. It's probably because alcohol lies and it's more than just 8 calories or 2 grams of carbs. So sorry to bust your bubble right there, but I had to inform you. All right, so what we're gonna go on to is how the heck do you even figure out where should I be, how many calories should I be consuming? And this is very variant. One of my best ways I would say to do it is truly track your food for about 2 weeks. And this would be, trying to weigh it and then also tracking it in a tracker, which we'll get to later. But doing that, taking the average of your calories and then the average of your proteins, your carbs, and your fats, and going with that average, as long as you've kind of maintained your weight during that time, then that would be more of like your actual calorie intake. But if you don't want to start there and you're just a number person, you want them right away, let's go with this basic. And what you would use is called a TDEE calculator. So this is your total daily energy expenditure calculator. One of the best ones to utilize is what you call a Mifflin St. George calculator. Type that in on Google and you'll probably get a few different ones. I would say choose the first 2 to 3 that you find, plug in all the numbers in there, and then for the 2 to 3, take the average of your TDEE and take all 3 of those, add them up, divide them by 3, and then that'll be kind of like your average intake that you should kind of start with. In there, it's gonna go over your weight, your height, your age, your gender, your activity. So there is an activity multiplier. Be true to this. So this will really kind of fluctuate then. If you choose a higher activity or a lower activity, most likely if you are sedentary right now, say you're working at a computer a lot, you're gonna be in that lower end range of the activity multiplier. So you're gonna be way closer to that 1.0. But say you are like a construction worker who also maybe works out 5 to 6 days and pretty hard, you're gonna be at that very high end of that activity multiplier, okay? So kind of keep that into play of okay, do I sit a lot mainly, but yes, I do work out. Well, you're still gonna be on that lower end of the activity multiplier, probably 1.0 to 1.2 or 3. But if you are super active within your job and you're lifting a lot of things within your job, you're walking around a ton, you're gonna be at more of that moderate to high end of that activity multiplier. All right, so once you find that and then you kind of find your average, Next step is definitely downloading or signing up for some type of food log app. I personally love MyFitnessPal because say you go out to dinner or go out to eat somewhere, MyFitnessPal has a lot of different restaurants in there that you can at least somewhat track like whatever food you're gonna be eating. Yes, it might not be 100% correct, but at least it's a good idea. And then you kind of plan out your other food around that. So I love MyFitnessPal. If you guys have questions on that, let me know. So you want to download that. And then what you would do is when you're trying to input like your goals and what you want to do, basically you want whatever calories you had gotten from your TDEE calculator, you want to put those calories in, and then it's gonna, at least in MyFitnessPal, I know for sure, so I'm going off of MyFitnessPal, you guys. It's gonna ask you for your macro split, so it's gonna ask you like what percentage you want coming from proteins, from carbs and fats. A very generalized intake would be a what you call a 40-30-30 split. So this would be 40% protein, 30% carbs, 30% fats. Okay. So look at this. Put those in. See what comes out. Ideally, the main one you really want to focus on is your protein to start. So with protein, you want to aim to consume about 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. Maybe you know you don't really eat that much protein right now, so maybe use the lower end of that and go with the 0.8 versus like the higher end of the 1.2. So first focus on that number. Make sure that whatever percentage you put in, your protein is around close to your 1% or your 1 gram per pound of body weight, right in there. And then, so next when you're looking at like your carbs and your fats, if you take more like a low carb approach with a higher fat, higher protein intake, mainly this is just going to be just weight loss, okay? So yes, you will lose weight going with a lower carb approach, but this isn't always ideal, especially depending on how active you really truly are. So I would say, yes, maybe if you're more sedentary, you'd want to go for this. But if you're moderately active and you do lift and you lift pretty heavy and you push it in the gym, I would go more with a moderate to high carb intake with a moderate protein and a lower to moderate fat. I know that's super basic, but I'm just keeping it very general right now. Not giving out numbers or anything for anybody, just because that's more of a one-on-one type of thing. So right now, keep it general. But if you would go with this approach, this will basically help you retain more muscle or gain more muscle, and then you will actually lose more fat. One of the reasons is when you have more carbs coming in, your body, it's not the exact main fuel source, but it is one of the more main fuel sources, and your body's gonna utilize that. You're gonna have a little bit more energy. When we have more energy, we move more, and we use our hands like I am, and you walk around more, and you might have more energy in the gym, more energy to go on walks later on at night. So that's like one of the biggest things is the difference. Lower carb, you're just literally just getting rid of some even water retention. You're just losing weight, whereas in a more moderate to high carb approach, you're gonna be actually losing fat. So I'd say more likely, like I said, if you are moderately active right now and you're going and working out and stuff, go with the second option here. All right, some of the last things. When you are looking at your macros, people are always like, oh, well, calories are king, and you know, I just gotta fill my calories, and so I'm gonna go to McDonald's today and I'm just gonna get a Big Mac, and oh, well, that's, you know, my intake for the day. Let's not do that. What you really want is you want quality macros. So at least try to follow like a 80-20 rule. So 80% cleaner, more nutrient dense foods, 20% more what I like to call fun foods, okay? I don't like to deem foods as good or bad because there's always a time and a place for foods, and deeming them good or bad creates bad mindset with food, a bad relationship with food. So never be like, oh, well, that's bad for me. No. Just like, nah, I just don't want it right now just because I'm gonna plan on having like some fun foods tomorrow, or I'm gonna plan on having dessert tomorrow, or something like that, you know? So just kind of switch your mindset that way. But back to the story. Go for quality macronutrients over just the quantity, okay? So when you're looking at quality, you also wanna look at where's your fiber intake, because fiber is a good source of, it's gonna show you that you're having quality macronutrients. So if you are a female, I'd say your minimum or right around what you wanna get for fiber intake is about 20 to 25 grams per day. And then if you're a male, you wanna aim for about 25 to 30 grams per day. And that is variant. See how that feels if you do hit some of those higher ends. You can have more than that, but say if like your stomach just doesn't handle it for the first week, maybe aim to go for the lower end and then build your way up. Even if you are like 5 grams under the first week or two, get used to it and then build it up, okay? Just because you don't want any digestive issues or anything like that. So get your body used to it and then kind of build on from there. Last thing that I have for you is feeding frequency. A lot of people are like, oh, I need to be on the dot. I need to eat every 2 hours, every 3 hours, whatever. If I miss it, I'm screwed. That's not how it goes, all right? Like, as long as you are getting your calories in, your macronutrients in that you need for the day to fuel your body, you are good. Mainly, it is based off of what fits with your lifestyle, what fits with your schedule, what you can truly adhere to and stay consistent with. That's the biggest thing. The more consistent you can be, say if it is around like you eat every like 3 to 4 hours, the better that your body will kind of get into its rhythm. So I'd say aim for that if you can. If there's days where, you know, instead of eating 4 to 5 meals, you have to maybe eat 3. Well, just make sure that you get all of your calories and your macronutrients in within those 3 meals, okay? So don't shortchange yourself just because you got 3 meals versus the 4 to 5. Always make sure that you are taking in the correct amount of your nutrients. All right, you guys, well, I rambled enough, so you guys have a good rest of your day.